What if I told you that the greatest heroes are not the loudest or the most celebrated? What if I told you that true success isn't about titles or accolades? It's about quiet acts of love and selflessness, done in the shadows where no one sees. This is the story of Maya Patel, a young woman who chose an unseen path, the path of impact over fame, service over recognition, and purpose over success. Her journey is proof that sometimes the most meaningful victories are the ones that never make headlines. Maya Patel had always been the quiet one. Growing up in a small town in India, she was never the loudest in the room. While her classmates chased after big dreams and accolades, Maya was content with staying in the background, supporting others from the sidelines. She had always been the dependable daughter, the supportive friend, the hard worker in the shadows. Her parents, especially her mother, were proud of her, but they couldn't help but notice that Maya never sought the spotlight. She didn't want to be a doctor or a teacher or an engineer, careers that her relatives would call respectable or successful. Maya's dream was different. She wanted to help people in a way that no one could truly understand. She wanted to create change, but not through big gestures. She wanted to change lives quietly, by listening, by giving, by simply being present. But life wasn't easy. Maya had always excelled academically, but when it came time for university, she was faced with the heavy expectations of her family. They wanted her to take a path that guaranteed a good job, something with a clear title, a high salary. They didn't understand her quiet, almost invisible desire to make a difference in the world through small acts of kindness and care. "Why can't you be like your cousins?" her aunt would say at every family gathering. "Look at how successful they are. Why aren't you ambitious enough?" Maya would smile, nod, and bury her feelings deep inside. But the pressure wore on her. Day after day, she felt like she was walking in the shadows, never quite enough. The weight of expectations felt like it was slowly crushing her spirit. It was during this time that Maya met Priya, an elderly woman in her neighborhood. Priya had no family left. She spent her days sitting on the porch of her small home, watching the world pass by. Maya would stop by every day after school, sitting with her, listening to stories of times long past. Priya would often tell her, "You're going to do something amazing one day, Maya. I can feel it." But Maya didn't know what that was. She was still struggling to figure out who she was supposed to be. One afternoon, Priya fell ill. It wasn't a major illness, but it was enough to keep her bedridden for weeks. Maya stepped in. She cooked meals for her, cleaned her home, and made sure she had company every day. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't celebrated. It wasn't the kind of thing that would make headlines or get applause. But Maya found a strange peace in these small acts of love. One day, as Maya sat beside Priya's bed, the old woman took her hand and said, "You're doing exactly what you were meant to do, Maya. You just don't see it yet." That was the turning point. Maya realized something she had never understood before. She didn't need to be loud. She didn't need to follow the path that everyone else expected her to take. The real impact was in the small things, the quiet conversations, the helping hands, the listening ears. Maya started volunteering at local shelters, working with children who had lost their parents, the elderly who had no family, and women who had no voice. Her mother still didn't understand why Maya spent so much time helping others instead of focusing on her career. But Maya didn't mind. Every life she touched, every person she helped, was a victory for her. It wasn't the career she had dreamed of growing up, but it was a life filled with meaning. Slowly, people started to notice her work, not in a flashy, attention-grabbing way, but in quiet, meaningful ways. People who needed her reached out to her. They found comfort in her presence, in the peace she brought with her. A few years later, Maya started her own nonprofit organization dedicated to helping underprivileged children and the elderly. It wasn't huge, it wasn't glamorous, but it was real. It was meaningful. And in the end, that was all she ever wanted. Moral of the story: sometimes the most important work is done in silence. The greatest changes are not always the loudest or most visible. Maya showed us that a life filled with purpose doesn't have to be flashy. It just needs heart. The true measure of success is not in the titles you hold, the salary you earn, or the applause you receive. It's in the quiet moments of impact that no one else sees. If Maya's story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Remember, it's the quietest voices that often carry the most weight. You might be walking your unseen path now, but it's leading you to something beautiful.